in 3 scholars aged from 12 to 16 experiences pressure because of their own or others' expectations. We are living in a performance society. And in performance society, we have the idea that we have to perform well and live up to our talents in order to be successful and get a well-paid job. The Dutch Youth Institute researched about this performance society. They found out that 31% of 12-year-old scholars feel performance pressure when it comes to performing at school. However, at the age of 16, already 59% feels this pressure. How come that it raises so quick? Well, this performance pressure also results in a lot of stress. And this stress can be on different levels. First of all, on the level of home and schoolwork. And at the age of 12, 7% of scholars experience the stress because of their home and schoolwork. At the age of 16, this is already 27%. Another often made assumption is the influence of social media on our stress levels. And we can see that it does have some influence. At the age of 16, 2.3% of scholars experience this pressure because of the pressure they feel on social media. Social media can be distracting, and it can make us feel like we have to live up to our talents to be as good looking and successful as others. However, if we compare it to home and schoolwork, we see that it only has a small influence on our stress levels. So, actually, social media is one of the things that makes us relax and wind down after a busy day. Well, where does this performance mindset come from? Well, our performance mindset comes from self-comparison based on how well we perform. For example, students who get the highest grade get praised and they get recognized for their efforts that they put in. But students who get the lowest grade don't get recognized for their efforts. We want to live up to our own talents as well as what others expect from us. We can see that in education, there's almost no attention towards personal development of students. If you get a lower grade, you immediately get questioned for your efforts and asked, why didn't you put in enough effort to get a higher grade? Well, this leads to a lot of pressure in scholars. It leads to personal doubts and self-comparison to other peers, and our self-worth starts depending on our performance. The Dutch Youth Institute has this statement to scholars aged from 12 to 16. People are worthy if they are good at what they do. And 27.5% of scholars agreed with the statement. People are worthy if they are good at what they do. Is this what we want? That our self-worth starts depending on our performance? Well, this is also influenced by our upbringing, for example. If you are born with a specific talent or your parents are known for doing well in a certain subject, immediately you are expected to live up to this talent. This also influences our mindset and our pressure that we feel. Our parents just want us to perform well and live up to our potentials, but unconsciously, this raises the pressure on us. Small comments like, "You're so smart, you can easily do this," sound like a compliment, but without realizing it, it can really raise the pressure on a kid. So let's look a little bit where this performance mindset comes from. Well, there are some patterns in history that might have influenced how we feel pressure these days. In the 1800s, children with learning disabilities were institutionalized and removed from society. From 1889 onwards, also children with puberty were seen as mentally ill, and they were also institutionalized and removed from society. So we can see that mental health issues were not recognized, and they were seen as diseases. This led to children hiding their issues because they were not recognized for it. Their worth really started depending on their performance and not on their mental health. And then after World War II, performing became even more important because mass education started raising more around Europe. Mass education aimed to attract students based on their efforts, talents, and abilities. And during this period, sociologists Davis and Moore released their hypothesis in 1945. Their thesis aimed to reward those who perform best. And this also might have led to the excellency comparison race in the Netherlands. The belief is that you perform better if you are rewarded for that what you are good at. Well, let's talk a little bit more about these excellency rates. In the Netherlands, schools are rated based on the level of excellency of the students. And these rates are based on the performance of students and the pace of education. So first of all, they look at how high the average grade of student is. And second of all, it's looked at the level of education of the students. With level of education, we mean vocational, general, and pre-university education. And for the Dutch people, this is known as VMBO, HAVO, and VWO. So what we can see is that this results in competition between schools. Because the schools who have the best performing students get awarded Excellency School in the Netherlands. They get a logo on their website and on their school that they say, we are one of the Excellency Schools in the Netherlands. So what schools want is that they have the best performing students, because then they will be better than other schools and more parents will apply their children for their school. This results in the schools pressuring their scholars to perform better. What we can see is that there is no attention towards personal development here again. There are many results when you Google on excellent schools in the Netherlands. But when you Google on happiness of scholars in the Netherlands, I almost couldn't find any results. So we can really see that the attention is not on personal development and happiness of scholars, but rather on their performance and their study level. This creates the assumption that we have to perform well and that this is more important than personal development and a good mental health. It's becoming a global problem, and it also happens outside of the education field. For example, on the level of psychology. Over the past 3 years, youngsters became more sensitive towards psychological problems, and currently this is 25% of youngsters in elementary and secondary school. This is happening because also psychiatrists are becoming more solution-based. They focus on quick diagnosing and quick solving of the problem. For example, if you don't feel well and you want to talk to someone, you go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, and very often they want to diagnose you with a disease or a disability. And then they go into their book to follow the steps on how to solve it, how to solve the problem and get you back into normal society. It's really focused on quick solving the problem. Well, shouldn't we look at the individual and their experiences and try to understand that first before we go into problem solving? Well, this also leads to a lot of self-doubts again and comparison. For example, if you perform less, you believe that you are not talented enough. If you perform really well, you get a fear of failure because you want to be praised for what you are good at. And this fear of failure leads to perfectionism because we want to be good at what we are good at. We want to excel in the subjects that we are good at. And we want to be better than we did last time. And this leads to overworking because we want to live up to our fullest potentials. It's becoming a problem because this leaves no room for leisure activities and resting because we constantly want to be better. It also has some physical effects. For example, you can feel low in your energy. And this is a result of a lack of vitamin D. If we are overworking all day and we're sitting in the office all day, we don't go outside anymore. We don't see the sunlight. This results in a lack of vitamin D. And then we feel very low energy. But is stress a bad thing? Well, this is the question I got asked during my expedition. And I was really passionate about this. I thought stress is a really bad thing. We should not have stress and we should be able to live without it. However, I found out that stress is actually crucial and we need stress to survive. We need it to get out of bed every morning, we need it to perform, but too much stress can become a problem. Because if we have no room for other things next to our stress, like rest, it can lead to a burnout. So we need rest to balance our stress. And I discovered that there is 7 types of rest. Often often we think that resting is sleeping. We think, okay, I've worked really hard today, and today I'm just gonna go to bed early. I will be feeling fine tomorrow because I slept for 8 hours. But then you wake up in the morning still feeling exhausted. How is this possible? Well, do you recognize this? That you still feel exhausted after a night's rest? This is because you didn't get enough rest. And that's because there are 7 types of rest, and sleeping is just one of them. So I want to discuss some of the other types of rest. So sleeping is the passive physical form of rest. It's just sleeping. But then there's also an active form of physical rest, and this is about making your muscles relax. You can do this, for example, by stretching or doing yoga. And then there is also mental rest. Do you recognize when you are super tired, but you cannot seem to fall asleep? Sleepless nights. This shows a lack of mental rest because you didn't take enough time to process your thoughts. Well, so we can see that if we don't take our mental rest, also our physical rest is affected by this. We can take mental rest, for example, by sitting in silence for a few minutes and letting our thoughts wander, or writing down our thoughts. And then there's also creative rest. And creative rest is about getting inspired. For example, by going out into nature, going to a library, to a cafe, because different environments give us different inspiration. And it can help us to get back to work on a good way, healthy way. And then there's spiritual rest, and this is about feeling like you belong, a feeling of belonging. And you can reach this, for example, by spending time with the people you love, or by doing meditation to connect with yourself. So this seems pretty easy, right? They are just small forms of rest which maybe take you 5 extra minutes in a day. But what keeps us from taking this rest? Well, we have this performance mindset that we are stuck to. We prioritize our work over resting every day, and we tell ourselves that we only deserve the rest after we have finished our hard work. But then, our perfectionism keeps us from ever finishing the work, because it's never good enough. It's all in our minds. It's what we have learned over the years, and it starts in secondary school. And this is why I believe we should interfere in secondary school, because it's where we develop this mindset. We should help future generations to develop a different mindset. For example, a personal growth mindset. If we are taught to balance our work with relaxing and leisure activities, we will take this with us for the rest of our lives. So for example, by informing the board and teachers about this issue, can already become a topic there. The teachers influence their scholars' mindset, so they are the ones who we should first talk to. We should inform them about the issue and also how it influences the mental state of their scholars. It's crucial to shift their perspective on the topic and make them aware of the effects that it has on their scholars. This can be done through workshops between scholars, teachers, and the direction of the schools. It should aim towards mutual understanding and change, and facts and numbers will show the teachers and the board that it's a general problem that's happening all throughout the Netherlands. The scholar perspective should be involved to show their needs and wants, and to have the best solution that is based around their needs. This will result in more attention towards personal development of scholars, because we never know what's going on at home, or what personal struggles they are facing. I just want to talk about one positive example, which is Utrecht University. They introduced a well-being program to address mental health issues that are linked to the academic pressure that students feel. They experimented with alternative grading, feedback, and personal growth in their school system. And this had a lot of positive results. It resulted in higher student engagement, higher satisfaction with student support, lower burnout rates, and lower anxiety rates related to performance pressure. So these are a lot of positive results. And actually, it's not that hard to apply. So why don't we try this in secondary schools? If we learn to balance our rest with personal support, this will actually result in the best performance and mental health simultaneously. Let's look at the person behind the grade.